Hi, I'm Wayne Wright. I'm the keyboard player and the sax player for the younger half. And I'm interviewing the band leader, Jimmy Hinijos. And this is going to be my third interview. I've interviewed Juan Rios, Juan Lopez, the lead singer. And now this is Jimmy. And Jimmy's from the source. He's been here from the very beginning. So, Jimmy, tell us about the very beginning of the younger half. Was it your parents' idea, or was it Tommy and Lalone or did you, Tommy and Lalone, talk your parents into helping you start a band? How did you guys come up with this?
You know, it all started back with my brother Tommy was on drums and my brother Lalone was on guitar, but they had me on sax.
Oh,
That's
really?
how I started on the
Oh, I did not know.
saxophone. Yeah, in elementary.
I feel threatened.
Yeah, I started on the sax, and then the Beatles came out, and they didn't have no sax player, so my parents go, "Here's a bass. You're a bass player." And that's how I became a bass player.
Wow.
And it all started with Tommy. Tommy's the one who put this whole thing together. He started it. The original name was the Young Set. The Young Set is what we started with. And then Tommy came and goes, "No, I'm going to change it to the Younger Half." And that's how the Younger Half started.
Very nice. And your mom and dad were really involved, though. I mean, they got into it.
My mom would do wigs. Back then, you would do wigs for ladies, and she would do that to buy her equipment.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's how we ended up getting our equipment through the Jewel T man. You remember Jewel T?
No.
It was almost like a Penny's catalog.
Oh.
And it was called Jewel T, and that's where I got my first bass. It was like Paul McCartney's, the violin shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first bass.
Oh, man. Yeah, and Jimmy's mom, of course, your mom was an excellent cook. So on the road, we'd all pitch in, like, remember, okay, guys, you pitch in 50 cents each, and I'll make you this great Mexican dinner, when we're on the road.
Oh, we ate like kings, remember?
Yeah. And I remember when we go on the road, all the moms would make us burritos, and they'd wrap them in foil, and we'd put them on the truck manifold to get them hot.
That's how you warmed them up.
So your dad, Manny, had a great story. He a very interesting story. I think he told me one time that he was in the armed forces and served in the Korean War as a cook, which sounds a little bit uncomfortable when you think about it, trying to grill burgers in 20 below weather while the enemy is shooting at you, Yeah. Did your dad ever tell you and your brothers about his time in the war?
He didn't say much. It was, I remember he was in the tank corps, and he was a cook for the tank corps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And, but never got into, I don't think he seen any action or anything like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Korea, they had a lot of people got killed there. That was a very unpopular war because all these guys had been drafted during the World War II, and then they get out finally, and they lived, and now they get drafted again for Korea.
Yeah.
So
It was wild.
So Jimmy, we were the younger half. We went all over the place, and we were playing or you guys were playing in Fairbanks, Alaska before I got in the band during the pipeline days, and that was wild. Man, it was wild and crazy and expensive. I remember eggs for $1 a piece, just raw eggs, So I was playing in another band, and the younger half's playing in another nightclub in town. And I remember that your mom, Sarah, she would show up in the nightclub that we were playing at to check us out. She'd come on stage and tell me that someday she's going to hire me for the younger half, because they weren't happy with their existing sax player. Tell us a couple of stories about just how crazy Fairbanks was during the oil boom.
Fairbanks, Alaska. It was crazy. I think I was 17 or 18 years old at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. And sex, drugs, and rock and roll, man. That's what it was.
How about that casino you told us about?
Yeah, Sam's. And they'd give you a business card, and they'd say, come over to the casino. And you'd go knock on a door, and it was a dentist's office. And you walk down these halls, and you go down, make a left, and you open it up. It's like Las Vegas. And you gamble, and he goes, "What would you like to eat?" "Hey, I'll take a ribeye right now." And he goes, "We'll get you a ribeye, but they wanted you to gamble. It was like for $5 a hand. Do you remember that?
Well,
Did you go to those?
I didn't go to that.
Oh,
place.
Man, that's how we picked up girls. Hey, you want to go to Sam's? Yeah.
No wonder I was single that whole time.
Yeah. It was wild and crazy there.
We played 7 months in Maui. It was like a gig from heaven or something at the Royal Lahaina Hotel. And at that time, they hosted professional tennis tournaments. and the hotel management used to let us borrow tennis rackets and play and balls to play on the courts. And the band had some amazing doubles matches. And I remember one of the girlfriends asked us if her 12-year-old brother could play with us. And I remember the kid smoked all of us, and he was 12. You know? Yeah. So that leads up to what is your top 3 favorite gigs all these years you played the Younger Half?
Well, of course, the Battle of Bands was the ultimate.
Oh, okay. Tell us about that.
I just read today, that out of 200 bands in Los Angeles, think about it. Out of all the musicians in Los Angeles, and we ended up winning. How about that?
Yeah.
And then got to play LA Coliseum. Isn't that the ultimate for a musician to play a stadium?
Yeah, the Coke Fest. I think it was. Yeah,
Coke Fest. But Sly Stone.
Yeah,
I remember they pulled the plug on him. You remember that?
No.
I was getting paid. I was with the promoter, and he was paying me. And they came in. He told them to come down. They didn't want to. There was a football game. The Raiders were playing, and he went, "Come on down." It was like a waterfall. Everybody was on the field.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I was getting paid, and they said, "Pull the plug, pull the plug." And Sly Stone, he was higher than the kite, man. He was trying. I don't know if you ever seen the album cover where he jumps up and his feet, but he touches his hands.
Oh,
he was trying to do that, and he was drunk. He was a mess, Yeah, that was wild.
I think Sly Stone had a heroin problem. He ended up living in his van outside of a house.
I read that, yeah.
I loved their music. He was so inventive. His stuff sounded like nothing ever since.
Yeah. He was the one that started the music, like Funkadelics, and that's where they got their music from. Sly Stone.
Yeah, Sly Stone. He was an amazing guy. It's too bad that he ended up that way.
Yeah.
So I remember you telling me that after you got off the road, you and your wife eventually moved to Colorado, which we are here right now at a beautiful lake. And you started playing in the church band. And so tell us a little bit about your life after the Younger Half.
Well, it was a God thing to get me out of my hometown because all my cousins and friends played softball, and a buddy of mine moved here, and I called him on a whim, and he says, "Man, you need to come out here and look." So I go home and I told Angie, I said, "Hey, Scott's in Colorado. You want to go take a look?" And she said, "Yeah, let's go." We came out here. We looked around, and I said, "Is this what you want?" She goes, "Yeah, I'll do that." And that's how we ended up moving to Colorado, and been here 30 years now.
And you played in the church band, right?
I played in the church for 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, when I first got here, we didn't know anybody, and we plugged into our church. And next thing you know, we were for Colorado, and it was fun. I did. We would do parades and all that kind of stuff, play music.
Oh yeah.
And I got my son Anthony playing percussions with us, and then they didn't want a kid on stage, church and stuff. So a buddy of mine, Augie Winter, I gave him the bag of percussions and said, "Hey, you're going to play percussion now." And he's my best buddy now. And we did it for 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it back to the past one more time, Jimmy. The Younger Half played a gig in a little town called Yakima, Washington, Central Washington. Mount St. Helen happened to blow up right then.
Yep.
And I remember the lead singer, Juan Lopez, he overslept the gig because it was completely pitch black during the middle of the day, because of the ash from that volcano, and it got all over our car. Luckily, our car didn't. Do you remember that gig?
I do. That was wild. It sounded like thunder, remember?
Yeah.
You look outside and it looked like it was snowing. We're going, what? But they couldn't cook, you couldn't drive, you couldn't do anything. And we had to play, remember?
Yeah.
We had to go and entertain everybody because they couldn't do nothing. And they were making sandwiches. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They couldn't cook. They had to make sandwiches for us and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah.
Well, cool, Jimmy. I think, we're kind of trying to keep it kind of short, because people's attention span nowadays.
Right.
But it's great interviewing you, the leader of the Younger Half. And Jimmy's older brother, Tommy, was the original leader. And then Tommy became a minister. And Jimmy finished up the act. And that's great. Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
You're welcome. Good to see you guys. I love you guys.
And